Karen Roberts, thank you so much for coming on the Inner Edison podcast. I really appreciate you being here today.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You say that right now, but you don't know until at the end if it's still going to be a pleasure. You proper you.
We'll still be friends.
That's right. At least you got the great mic. I really like the Shure. It sure makes your voice a lot deeper. Like I need that help, but it does. Yeah. But what's great about doing the right mics and the right thing for podcasting is you can set up a studio at your house with the right mics and have the stuff in there, and your dog could be barking in the room and people don't know it.
Ah, there you go.
Right. I mean, that's what's nice about the right equipment when you get into podcasting is because I built out a studio for myself in 2000. As soon as the pandemic hit, they closed all the radio stations. Like we couldn't go in and do our show anymore. So they made us do it from home. Well, we had to scramble, figure it all out. And we finally, and I did it from doing, what was that? Clubhouse.
Okay.
Did you listen to Club? So there was 3 guys on there who did podcasting, who understood it. And they had rooms 3 times a day. I'd go in those rooms and ask them questions. And they helped me actually set up my board. In one of those rooms, they go, okay, go in there and change this, change that, change that. It was amazing what they did during that period of time. And if it wasn't for Clubhouse, I wouldn't be where I am today.
There you go. So there are just a few good things that may have come out of it. You got to look for the silver lining, right?
Always look for the silver lining. Yeah. You're talking about the pandemic, what came out of the pandemic. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think a lot of things, yeah, it was negative, yes. But what did we change? QR codes are through the roof now. Everybody uses them on everything. So it's okay. Where prior to that, everybody's like, oh, that's just too much to take on. But now in order to order anything, you have to use one.
Yep.
And everybody listens to podcasts, where before they really didn't. I mean, podcasting's been around truly since 2006 to 8, but really bad because of the way the video was and everything else. But when I first started, I didn't do video. Did you?
I did actually, but not for the podcast. I've always videoed it and then used the video on YouTube. That is how I started. Right. But yeah, the things that have come out now, all the different tools and things, it's just phenomenal. It just makes life so much easier, right?
Oh, totally. So much easier. The problem I have is I do so many different things, and my co-host comes in here and messes with my stuff, I see.
Love that.
I try to because I do another one called ACES 53, which is attitude, commitment, enthusiasm, and smile is what you bring to the table in sales. And then, so it's really 4 aces and a joker, what I learned in college. And the joker is that unique ability you have that you bring to the table that nobody else has, or you learn. And so and the reason we call it ACES 53 is because 53rd card in the deck is a joker. And because aces and a joker, aces and a joker was taken by a band.
How dare they?
But what just like you said, but there's so many things you can do these days. So when I first started, and this is not supposed to be a podcast about me, but in radio, I was like, okay, how do I take this and put it into a totally different genre where other people will listen to it, not just on the radio waves where we had 51 to 71,000 listeners would listen to it a month, right, during the week or whatever. And so I took it from that and put it on, at the time, SoundCloud, which then so many other things came out since then, Libsyn and everything else, that do it for you so much easier. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a podcast about podcasting, but it sure turned into that. But it's you need to do it to be the authority in your industry. I mean, you need to talk. It's such a great thing to get the word out about what you do. That's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, how do you feel about it?
100%. I fell into this, should I say this was never the plan, right? I come from a completely different background. I was in the fitness industry for a quarter of a century, right? Wow. So I just turned up in fitness studios, jumped around. Yeah, I was there to motivate and inspire people to have a great workout, but completely different. What the hell did I know about even anything online? And then 2016, I left because, you know what, I'm not getting any younger. and teaching very high energy classes. Although I loved it, it was, what am I going to do when this is going to, I'm not getting any younger, and this is a very physically demanding job. What next? And I thought that I still wanted to sort of do motivational stuff, maybe be a speaker, but didn't have a program, didn't know anything about online at all. And then I suppose I took the easy route. I started selling high ticket affiliate programs. So I was great at selling other people's programs. And then I thought, no, what about me? I want to create my own. And I thought I should, those words, I think a lot of people go through that. We think we should do something. I thought I should go back to my roots. And I was just about to launch a speaking career, to run live events, teaching about the ketogenic diet and fasting for health benefits. And then the madness of 2020 happened. So, for starters, for me, I stopped fasting and eating keto, and instead was ordering delivery every night and bottles of Prosecco because I was so depressed. Sort of completely fell off the wagon, couldn't do that. And I just fell into this. I just put an online summit on, had all these coaches speaking, and I just thought I'd found my place. Like, this is fantastic. I'm genuinely interested in why are people doing what they're doing? What led them there? And then I was just offered a radio show on the back of that. So this was quite accidental, but I feel like I found my place. And 100% from all the people that I interviewed, because initially that's all I did was interviews. I just thought, I could look at somebody's bio or go to their website and have a perceived idea. I've created a story around what it is I think they do. And then I would get them on the show and ask them questions. And by the end of it, I've got a completely different idea of what they do. And you just think, this is the platform. Have a podcast so that you can actually share what it is you do. You can demonstrate how you help people do whatever it is you help them with. It's just the best, and it's the most fun.
Yes, having conversations. Period.
Yeah.
Getting to know people. Asking. I've been in the mortgage industry. Do you understand? I don't know if they have mortgages and.
Yeah. I haven't got one, but.
You just squatted in a house and now it's yours.
I'm a digital nomad.
No, it's just, you get to know people. I've always asked why people were doing certain things. And then now you do a podcast. That's all you're doing is you're trying to get to know that person and asking them all these questions that you get in trouble on doing at a dinner party or whatever. It's truly my wife's always squeezing my leg because I want to know why people are doing things that they do, or why they voted a certain way, or why they did this. It's not like I'm telling them they're wrong. I just want to know so I understand how people are, and that, because I'm inquisitive, and that's what's great about this.
Love that.
And what I like about this is we tell people stories, and I do it across multiple mediums. Now, are you still on the radio?
No.
Okay.
So basically what happened was, as I was probably about 2 years in, I think, and I'd had this sort of idea come to me because I was just doing interviews. I wasn't doing any solo episodes. I didn't know what I wanted to do. When I started, there was no end game. I wasn't doing it to sell anything, or I didn't have a program or anything. I had just started it from being offered this radio show. And I just thought, I'll figure it out as I go, just keep going. And I thought, I'm interviewing all these different coaches, and my podcast was called originally A Coffee with Karen, a cup of positivity with just a sprinkling of woo-woo. So I had people from the conventional to the very, very woo-woo. Because it was stuff that interested me, right? I'm open to anything. Come and share. And, if it resonates, great. And if not, whatever. But I thought, guys, all you coaches, none of you are in competition. because, you know, we've got this guy over here who might have a title of mindset coach, but he's helping 40-plus-year-old men deal with divorce. Or then you've got somebody else who might be a mindset coach, but they're helping a completely different segment of society solve a completely different problem. And I just thought, well, why don't we collaborate more? And I wanted to provide almost like a directory, I suppose, for the public to come and find the right fit for them. Because if they thought they might need a business coach, for instance, but actually maybe, this person does, inner child work, or I don't know, something a little bit woo-woo, something that's a little bit out there that they hadn't heard of before. And that might be the more appropriate fit for them at that time. And then literally, as I think it was just over a week. It was about 10 days after I announced this in a Facebook Live that I wanted to create this directory, because I have a thought and then I'd sort of act on it straight away, or at least voice it. And the owner of the station said to me, you know, at the end of your contract, at the end of the year, that's it, I'm packing it in. Do you want it? And I went, yeah. So I took on the station, but I would say I failed with it, because I thought, great, I've got a whole radio station, right? Everybody can have their own show. So I thought I was just providing a platform for these coaches to get their message out there. But what I found was, not only did many stop after a few shows, some, even bizarrely, didn't even though they signed up, they never even published their first one, because they didn't really have any kind of strategy. You know, I don't know about you. You look, you've been doing it for years. I mean, we were saying earlier, you know, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become at doing it, and it's just automatic for you, right? And you forget.
Except for by myself.
Interesting.
Because I don't do a lot by myself, you know.
Right.
But I do when I'm on radio. Let me take it back. Some of the radio shows I fill in for, because these guys have these 3-hour shows. I'm there by myself unless a caller. My whole thing is to get callers to call in, you know, live, so I can talk to them. So I'm not alone. I'm just kidding. But so no matter what, there's always something you can improve on. No matter what how good you get at, there's always something to improve on.
Absolutely. But I think many just get overwhelmed with the even thought of it, they might think, oh yeah, it'd be great to start a podcast. And then they overthink it, and then they talk themselves out of it, and they just don't do anything with it. Or, as I said, they've done a few episodes and then either they've run out of ideas of topics because there was no structure. So I just sort of was like, almost, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Right. So we had to sort of dig into providing a little bit more for our clients, that is, rather than just, okay, there you go, here's a platform, do what you got to do. Right.
Well, that goes back to so I was doing a talk at one of the Steve Sims that we talked about, and I was going to do it at one of the pod matches. It was my 1023 rule of podcasting. And that is, most people do the 10th get to the 10th episode and quit. And then then the next people get to the 23rd episode. So like 80% of the people quit at the 10th episode, or right before the 10th episode, they quit. And then by the 23rd, that's the rest of it. So you only have about 12% of the podcasts that are still going from the moment that they started it.
That's crazy stats. And you think, what a shame, because I think, you know, we are in this instant gratification era, right? We want it now. And if they don't see an ROI for their effort, or, I mean, you know, we're all busy doing other stuff, right? And so they see it as extra work and, oh, this is taking up too much of your time. But it is a long-term strategy. Mm-hmm. But you know what? If you're in business, you're in it for the long term, man, you just, you know, I would say 80% of it is just showing up. Just be consistent, keep going, because the time's going to go anyway. And it is, for me, it is the best platform. Forget social media. I would like to actually even come off fully social media and just do.
Why do you
the
want to come off social
podcasting.
media? Is it the haters?
No, I mean, so far I'm obviously not doing enough. I wouldn't say I'm getting.
Well, no, because I've learned you engage the haters, because that engagement you won't get. Well, even people who love you won't engage you as much. But if you're somebody who says something negative about you, like they don't understand what you did, because I had a video go viral on TikTok, and now I could do it so much more if with what I've learned. That a friend of mine, Brian Galke, Subtle Skills, he went viral on Instagram, and it was after mine, and I told him, anytime you have any haters, you have to engage them, because that algorithm will take off and grow that more than anything else. He went to 2.7 million on one of his posts on Instagram by just doing what I said, which was, when someone says something negative, just interact with them.
Yeah.
Right? On TikTok, I interacted, but I only, like, when they said something stupid, I go, really, I didn't go in more into it where I should have, and it would have grown even more. And that 750,000 views would have probably grown to over 2 million or more. But what I'm getting at is, you have to engage, but you don't do your content to go viral. You do your content for that one person. And whenever you're doing your podcast, you need to speak to you. That's how you to that one person, because I learned that from radio. So when you said you were on radio, the things you learn on radios, they're not listeners. You talk to you know, I'm talking to you, that one person. You talk to that one person, you call them listeners. They're thinking that's the other person next to them, not themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. No, all I mean with social media is that, I haven't got time. I don't want to spend my time scrolling on all these. There's just so many different social media platforms, and having to engage. Yeah, it's just, for me, I find podcasting really is a way of actually getting my time back. I want to have a life. I don't want to be stuck on social media.
Get a VA. Come on, get a VA. Get a couple of VAs. Yeah. They're only $500 to $1,400 a month.
I wouldn't be able to survive without mine. Bless her. Thank you.
How did you find your VA?
It was through an agency, actually, initially. Yeah.
No. Okay. We'll talk afterwards. You can tell me which one. Because I'm always looking for more, because I'm looking for somebody, because I took over my social media. I took over a bunch of that stuff back to figure out how to do it better, because the company I had it before, they got my Instagram up to 22,000 and a few other stuff that they did. But I got my TikTok up higher than that. Brian went from like 22,000 to 150,000 with that one video going viral.
Wow. There you go. I need to be more controversial.
No, it's not that at all. It's just what he was saying was, because he talks about your facial features, and he can tell you who you are by your facial features. And he made a mistake when he said something. He was like, right above your eye, your eyelid. And the guy's like, where else is your eyelid? That's what started it. So that engagement and kept it going, and people, stepping out. And so it's not about being controversial. It's just because mine, when that went viral, had to do with, do you guys know do you know what a manufactured home is? Like a mobile home?
Mm-hmm.
You ever see on TV them? Anyway, so I said, if you ever wanted to save, on taxes, property taxes, just put a manufactured home on a piece of property without it on a permanent foundation, and then it's only personal property, not real estate, to where they can tax you for the full thing as real estate. And it was just a quick little thing. And of course, the software I used said it was a hack, and you use the word hack on anything, it goes viral. Is what I also learned. Yeah.
There
so they
you go.
think, and people are like, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. And then half the people would say, yes, it does. I did it. The other half would say, no, it didn't. And you just engage with that. And that's why it went viral.
Goes, whoo-hoo-hoo. Awesome.
But you do need to be on there, and you do need to comment on stuff. And that's hard to do. But, if you just focus on the few comments, and you can go, it just depends on what you want. Some people think that they will get their clients from social media, and other people think they won't.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I think I see it as more almost validation that you are a real business. They can see that you've been doing it a while, as long as you're consistent. I think it's the consistency of everything. But I just don't want to be caught up in dealing with notifications and constantly on there. I just don't have time.
And that's okay. You can create the content, doesn't mean you have to consume the content.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's the difference. I create content, I don't consume it. However, occasionally you just see me there going through certain things, but it's just to see if I, what's going, I don't do the dances, I don't do that kind of stuff. It's all about the content I create. But I do a lot of lives on, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. But it's been lately is Instagram for me. Because I use StreamYard. I don't know what software you use. You can go live to Instagram now. Yeah, you can go live to Instagram now.
Well, what I'm a little bit concerned about is, so even like my podcast. So as I say, yes, we use the video, but I still use StreamYard to stream it to social media and YouTube. But aren't they stopping the Facebook group?
Just a few. Thing? Supposedly they are, but there's ways, or it's just the actual group, right? Not like your pages.
Okay. So
and they actually, one of my pages, they limited it on. I don't know why I haven't went in and looked at it. I don't care. It was not one. It's not me personally or my personal page and that kind of stuff. It was a totally different page. But yeah, you're the groups themselves. Yes, to a certain point. But I'm sure that's all going to change. I like
it's a constant change.
Yeah. Instagram, it always evolves to something better. They figure a way to get around everything. But what does really well for us lately, we've been doing a live Monday through Friday at 8:30 in the morning. My co-host and I from the radio show, and we just talk real quick about the local markets. And it's amazing how many people follow us because of that, and they tell us we watch your show. But a lot of people don't realize when you look at the stuff on Facebook, unless you open it up, it doesn't count in the actual numbers on StreamYard. But if you go into your full numbers, you can see who actually watched it because it knows who actually watched it. So when you look on the screen, like you can scroll in, it might say you only had 5 people love it or whatever, and only had 2 whatever. But when you go in there, it tells you there was more eyes on it than what that shows.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all about omnipresence. I mean, that's what I see the beauty of podcasting is the fact that you can use one piece of content in the written format, video format, audio format, and just get it absolutely everywhere, which, that's why I think it just saves you time. And I enjoy the actual process of it.
Yeah, I do too. Otherwise I wouldn't. My wife asked me what I was doing all this for, and I said, I don't know.
I love that.
You know what I mean? It's like, just like you said, when you started, it's like, what's your plan? I don't really know fully yet, but it's coming. I see it. I actually see it forming. I don't know about you, but I do a lot through Podmatch, and I have multiple shows. And so I finally had to make an agency to make it worth, because once you get past 2 shows, you got to have 3 and 4, and then it's just cheaper to be an agency. And I had to actually create an agency for my radio show. I don't know if they do that over there, but we get 15, whatever you pay, if there's anything you pay for, whatever they pay the agency 15% of. And so I had to create an agency for that because the person was handling my show before, her and I split up, and which was the best thing. But she got me on radio, so thank God for her. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here with all the podcasting and the stuff because she brought me the station. But she thought bringing me to the station and doing the stuff that I would add all this extra marketing through the radio shows. No, I don't think that's the way it works. My podcast or my radio show itself is the actual product that I'm putting on the radio station. I don't want to advertise for my business anywhere else. I don't see that working as well as an actual hour-long show does.
Excellent. Yeah, there you go. I mean, this is why it is perfect, because you can use your podcast as a way to drive people into your business, or as you just have it as a show, grow the listeners. If you wanted ads inserted, then you'll make some money for showing up. But so there's no right or wrong way, is it? It's whatever suits you and your business.
What's your plan?
So for me, I mean, now I don't have the radio station anymore. I still have a podcast network. So I am still providing the platform, but all we do now is, again, because, I was shocked, and quite felt a bit like a failure when people weren't even publishing. So now I take them by the hand. I do an implementation day to just get them to do the blooming thing and give them a strategy around if they want to use it as the vehicle to drive leads and sales into their business. So we sort of give them everything in the box. And if they want podcast production services, they can have that too, if they want to get their time back even more. So we've just sort of up-leveled, I suppose, rather than just providing the platform. And so, yeah, my goal is just to grow the network, really have as many shows on there. The reason I dropped the radio station was because I felt I was all over the place too much. Mm-hmm. And, promote, what am I promoting, the radio station, or am I promoting the podcast? What am I doing? And I think there was confusion even with my followers or the listeners, because it wasn't clear as to what does Karen actually do? Because everything was disjointed. Now I've brought it in. This is what it is. That's all we do, is we help people set up, launch, grow their podcast. That's it. Simples.
And you say you have a network. What's the name? Is it on an actual network, or what is it? Okay.
It's a podcast network on Podbean. So it's called Raising Vibrations, Changing the World One Vibration at a Time.
You said Podbean?
So there's still a little bit of woo-woo. Yeah. So the podcast network is on Podbean. So everybody has their own channel, so that their personal channel will be on everywhere else as well, on Apple and Spotify. But it just means there's also a bit more of a collaborative approach for all the people in the network. So yeah, we're still pretty small, but the goal is to sort of grow the network, have more people on it, and grow my own podcast, really.
You say we. Who's we?
It is just me. I have a very small team of VAs.
We said we, so I thought maybe there was another person who was working with you.
Yeah, I do have, with our coaching, I work with Evans Putman. I don't know whether you've heard of him. He's been known as the go-to guy for selling high-ticket offers through podcasting. But we together run the Podcast Profit School as well, which is the sort of coaching that goes alongside it. So, yeah, I have my own business, but we run that together as well, and he has his separate business. So
you're all over the world then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh goodness, and weirdly, and this is the thing with podcasts, you don't know, do you, who's going to be listening? But more people listen to me in the States than they do here in the UK. Go figure. I mean, I don't know. It can't be a profit in your own backyard.
The accent.
It's the accent.
It is. I'm telling you right now, it's the accent. It's unique. It's a unique, there's not a lot of podcaster who has a good accent. There's a lot of people from London and other places. When you talk to them, because I had a vet the other night, I had on my Helping the Brave, and he had a thick one, and it was hard to understand what he was saying. You understand what I'm getting at? He used a lot of your own terms, and you used the local stuff, and it's like, okay, well, we're talking to everybody, so
bit difficult. Yeah, but why haven't I got more listeners here in the UK? It's like crazy.
Because you guys sound the same.
Yeah, I'm just another one, I suppose.
You're just the same person there. But to other people, you're different, and that's how and that's probably what it is. I don't know, but I just know people like good accents. It's just, it's like those two. I don't know if you've seen the two TikTok dudes who are from New York. You don't use. But anyway,
big TikTok. I'll have to ask my daughter.
Well, they're young guys in their 20s, and they talk about how inflation's so bad for them, like for haircuts. But they have the New York accents, and they've taken off because of that. And that's a unique thing. And then they also use their hands like New Yorkers do, and then the way they sound. And so if you have a unique voice or a unique accent, you're going to catch more people. If you sound really good on when you're talking, people are going to listen to you. If you sound like good Gilbert Gottfried, people aren't going to listen to you. You probably don't even know who that is. You're probably too young for that. He had a horrible voice, older actor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't know who is going to be tuning in. So I mean, I think that's why I love it. I've met the most amazing people on this journey that I would not have met. I'm sitting here at the moment in south of London now today. But yeah, I've just met fantastic people, and well, I wouldn't have partnered with Evans if it wasn't for podcasting. So you never know what opportunities are out there, and it is all about building relationships and developing and nurturing these relationships, and you don't know what could come next, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much too.
All right, so what was your biggest mistake along the way?
Oh, my biggest mistake.
Well, you said about the radio station thing,
It was about the radio station. I mean, my biggest mistake was, just thinking that I could just do that I could just I thought, oh, hey, I'm here. You know, I've got these people. I think we had 20 shows at one point, and I thought, right, my goal was 100. No, that whittled down. And then people not renewing. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I've put everything into this and it's not going to work until I brought everything in. I think the trouble is, throughout my journey in interviewing people, I have come to the realization that, maybe I'm a little bit ADHD, right? I don't see it as a problem. I see it as a superpower. It suited my life before in the fitness industry. I taught every single different class. I taught everything. I did everything. And I think when I started with this, I wanted to do this and that and that and that. And doing too much and being spread too thin and then coming close to burnout. I mean, look, Ed, how many shows are you doing? Last year, I went from 1 to 3 a week, 3 60-minute shows, because I started in radio. I was just told it was you got a 60-minute show, basically, you got to fill it. So I got really in the habit.
It's really 41 minutes with the breaks and everything else, the little breaks in between each segment. I don't know how it is over there, but that's how it is here. You have 15-minute segments, but you don't really have 15 minutes. You have 10 minutes, and then this segment's only 12 minutes. This segment's 12 minutes, and this segment's 10 minutes because we got all the station IDs, all the breaks, all the other stuff, which you don't have with podcasting.
No. But I got used to doing. I got used to doing that. But for me, and I only had one VA then to do 3 shows, all the posts. I was just really, really, really close to burnout. So now, and that's what I say about, I've got my time back, which is why I don't want to spend that time that I've got back scrolling on social media, right? Because now we've sort of, okay, let's simplify. Let's back off, Karen, on your ADHD. Like, you don't have to try and do everything. Bring it in. This is what you're doing. This is how you're doing it. Just keep going. And that's it, is to, simplify, I would say.
Well, but with what you did, you've learned what you're good at and what you don't want to handle. And so it's a learning phase. It's like anything we do, we have to go through to figure out everything else. And that's what I've been doing over the last 6-8 months when I took everything back. Could be even longer, but I don't know. But for me, I enjoy talking. So it's not a chore for me to go and do these shows. And one of my biggest problems is I had a huge studio, but then I had a bigger office. I mean, my own personal office, plus another editing room, plus all the other stuff for everybody else. But everybody was working at home still. And I realized in a 3-month period, I never sat in my office. I was either in the studio or in the where I had this thing for editing to do all the social media stuff. And then I realized, you know what? I just need a studio that I can work at also. And I'm here, I do my work, and then, it's time to go live. Okay, well, now I do my work. And for me, that works for me. For other people, they want the separation, but it's just different. But I have learned I need to get some VAs to help me, but it's really hard to find the right one because you never know who you're going to get. All these people reach out to you on all these different platforms and say, I can help you. Your SEO is all messed up. This is messed up. And 9 times out of 10, you don't want to deal with those people.
Very true. And I've tried some in the past and certain companies where you go to hire someone and you're like, hang on a minute, you have no clue what you're talking about.
But you finally found a good one, then I take it. You finally found
a good one. She's been with me for a while and she knows my system.
How did you find her?
Through an agency, but I had to train her up, in my way. She knows what I need to have done. So I've needed to train her in that specifically, and that's it. She goes off and does it all. So yeah, brilliant. I couldn't do it without her. Bless her.
Right. Well, there's other agencies who will train the people for you. If that person leaves, they'll replace it and take that on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of different agencies out there now. It's just a matter of how much you want to spend, but don't go cheap, because that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've tried that too. So there you go. Yeah,
They tried everything.
Oh goodness, yeah. Oh, I've tried. Fail forward. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fail forward. You've just got to do the thing. You get the energy to do the thing. You'll make mistakes along the way. Do you know anybody that had it plain sailing and they just went shum?
No.
Nah, nor do I.
Because my problem was I was in the number one throughout the world for the Inner Edison that you're on right now. And then I took off for about 7 months because I got upset because people wouldn't talk about their failures. So I finally was like, enough is enough. I'm probably going to stop the show. And because people just wanted to come on and talk about themselves. If you read my bio for Inner Edison, it says at the bottom, no gurus, no coaches, no this. Because I got tired of people going on, I'm a mindset coach. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I help people get out of their funk, or if they're stuck, I help them. Well, what do you mean by being stuck? And they couldn't answer that statement. I'm like, okay, we're done. And when I first started the show, though, I would go to these certain masterminds, and the guests were, they were amazing guests. I had Brian Smith from UGG, who brought UGG to America, and he talked about his 15-year journey, how he lost the company and how he got it back. And then I had, and don't get me wrong, everybody who's been on since is really, I don't care where you are in the scale, you have a story people want to know, but we need to know that story. I need to know those failures so people understand your failures and what you went through, so they understand it's okay to do it. So that's what hurt my algorithm for the show, is because I stopped it. Once you have to be consistent and not ever stop. You have to be consistent. If you're going to drop it on Tuesday, you drop it on Tuesday. If you have a guest on, yes, you should be sending them the stuff too. But mine was growing so much, I didn't have to. We tag them in a few things, but we didn't have to. But it's a learning phase that I went through. That was my failure by stopping, but I almost gave it up. Not the podcasting, just the show. Yeah.
That's what it is. And that's what really upset me the most, was that my hosts that I've brought onto the platform were stopping because they weren't seeing results. But, I'd been going a lot longer, and I've been consistent a lot longer. And I just wanted to find a way to help them, hit the ground running a little bit quicker, maybe get there a little bit quicker, but also have more of a strategy and prep and plan it a little bit better, so they don't run out of ideas and they don't think, oh goodness, this is too much work. Because you know what it's like, there's a lot going on. People think it's just talking into a mic, but you've got your setup phase, but it's not just about that. Yes, you've got the podcast production side of it, and then you've got the podcast promotion. There's 3 very different stages, and yes, there are lots of things to do, but like for me and you now, it's like, oh, that's it. It's easy. We just do this. But when you're beginning and you've got to remember all the different things, there's a lot. Just like anything, when you learn something new, of course, it's overwhelming in the beginning because you've got to consciously remember all the moving parts. But as long as you keep showing up and you keep doing it, of course, then it's second nature, and it's, in hindsight, yes, this is easy, but you've got to go through that phase. And I just didn't want people to give up. So they just needed a little bit more support. And I thought, this is too easy. I'll just provide the platform. No, people need their hand to be held, or they need a little bit more support as they go.
Gotcha. I think so, because the problem you run into with all these shows is when I do my morning show, I probably research what I'm going to talk about for a couple hours before each day, right? I sit there with my coffee in the morning, drinking my 2 cups of coffee, and I go through all the stuff I see financially, drop a few banners in where you can on screen, and then, then I go to have my breakfast, do everything else, and I sit in to do the show, and my co-host walks in, doesn't do anything, and sits down and goes. Unless he has to talk about, because he's a real estate guy, I'm the mortgage guy, so I have all the numbers, everything I need to know. his big thing is on, the certain things. And then we'll have a conversation about it because I found these certain things. But that's okay. If you're going to do a co-host, you guys have to split up what you're going to do. Right. And I the other show I talked about, Aces 53, Brian and I get along really well. And I thank him for all, because his big thing is getting the Joker for Thursday. And then we have our own talk on Tuesday, but that's his thing. My thing is handling everything else. And, as long as you split up and do that, it works really well. If you don't, then think about just going on your own.
Yeah, definitely.
It's hard having a partner. All right. So what is your perfect client you're looking for?
Oh, well, anybody who has thought about it, procrastinated about it, talked themselves out of launching a podcast. Look, if you've got a message that needs to get out there, or, if you've just got a service, something to sell, and you want to reach a wider audience, for me, the best way is to share stories, focus on maybe different pain points that whatever it is you do can help them with. Podcasting is a fantastic way of getting that message out to the right people. So yeah, if you need help with it, come and either have a chat or either, come and get my freebie sort of giveaway that'll give you a little bit more of a blueprint if you're thinking about it. Because podcasting is fun. If you want to have a fun way of building your business, why not give it a go?
Right. Karen, how do people find you? What's the best way for them to find you?
Well, if you're interested in that, just go to podcastprofitsunleashed.com/free, and that'll get you that'll give you a free, it's just a little mini course. You can sort of binge watch it and give you an overview. And if you want to take it further, then get in touch.
All right. Karen, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. Cheers,
Ed.
My
pleasure. It's actually my pleasure having you here. It was nice getting to know you. And if you want to know anything, what was the website so people can go to?
So podcastprofitsunleashed.com/free. Get my giveaway.
I just wanted that accent one more time there. All right, Karen, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you coming into the studio today. Thank you, sir. Sir, hello. I have too many podcasts today. Man. I won't offend you by calling you ma'am, will I? I'm a military guy. That's it. All right. Thanks again. I appreciate you being here. All right. Bye.